Hello again, everyone. Thanks for joining us for Inside Tulsa Athletics as we continue to follow the boys and girls athletic program of the Tulsa Public Schools. And I think we have a very interesting show lined up for you today as we go into spring sports and we cover golf, we'll cover tennis, we'll cover track, and we'll take a look at baseball. All of that coming up right here on Inside Tulsa Athletics. And then, of course, we close the show with Gil Cloud, Director of Athletics for the Tulsa Public Schools, and always he has some great news for us on the high school athletic level. So don't go away, stay with us. We're coming right back.
Stuff. When you don't want it, what do you do with it? Go to tulsarefuse.org. There, you'll learn what to do with stuff you don't know what to do with. Just give us a click. tulsarefuse.org. It's what you do when you don't know what to do with stuff. Are you suffering from stuff? Stuff you don't know how to get rid of? Go to tulsarefuse.org. Learn how to get rid of stuff easily and properly. tulsarefuse.org. Just give us a click. It's that simple.
We continue Inside Tulsa Athletics as we welcome aboard the athletic director as well as the head girls track coach at McLean High School, Coach Philip Johnson. And Coach Johnson, as the athletic director and also as a girls track coach, it's a pleasure having you aboard.
Well, thank you.
And when we take a look at girls track, it seems to me like that is a program that is becoming more popular. Maybe it's the Olympics, I don't know what it is, but are you having a lot of interest at McLean in girls?
You know, I've had more interest this year than I've had maybe in the last 10 years. I'm not sure if it was the Olympics or just friends want to hang out with friends, but for the first time, you know, we've had over 10 or 12 girls, you know, out consistently.
Well, what seems to be the strength of the girls that you have?
Well, you know, everybody seems to think they're sprinters, but, you know, we try to put 2 or 3 together and create a relay team. And that way, you know, you still have the team concept. So I would say probably the relays. Not the long relays, you know, not that 800-meter relay, 3,200-meter relay, but, you know, more like the sprint type relays. Now
that you started, and I'm sure that you didn't really get into practice until after basketball season was over.
Right. I had a couple of them who were out there kind of early, you know, starting in late December and early January, but most of them were after basketball.
How has that progress been for them? Has it been good?
Well, those that were there early, you can see the difference. You know, they've got a 2 or 3 month advantage on those that are just coming out. And, you know, they've progressed real well. It's those that are probably a couple of months in that are still trying to get their conditioning down.
When you look at your team, what events do you enter the girls into that they're most competitive?
Like I said before, everybody likes to think they're a sprinter, so, you know, they run the 100 and the 200, and then I've convinced them that, you know, the 400 meters is not a long distance race, you know, it's more of a sprint, and, you know, they kind of steer away from that after they've run it a couple of times, but, you know, the 1, 2, and the 4, yeah.
Kind of for our audience, review the events that you have gone to this year and how the girls did in each one of them.
Well, our first meet was in Dewey, Oklahoma, with about 44 degrees weather and driving rain.
Oh my goodness.
And so those new girls that came out, I mean, it was going to be hard to keep them out there. They thought, if this is what track is about, Coach, I'm not sure. But the following meet, we went to Okmulgee, and they kind of got a little taste of warm weather, and they enjoyed it, and I think I've hooked a couple of them. Next week, we're going to be going to Miami and then to Booker T. Washington.
Well, when you get ready to go into the playoffs, where do you think you will go, and how do you think you will do?
Well, based on last year, you know, we went to Tahlequah, And right now, we don't have anybody that's a top 10 in this event or top 10 in that event. We'll be looking just to qualify, and from my experience, if you've qualified and you are in the top 10, once you get there, anything can happen. I've seen
oh yes,
hamstrings pulled and batons dropped and people catch colds and things like that. So once you get in, anything can happen.
Well, that's the most important thing for you as a coach, is to have them ready, have them healthy, and some good luck can occur from it. How is the track program coming down in the middle school? Does it even go below the middle school, or how do you go about bringing kids interested in track into the senior high program?
Well, we have a program after school with the Tulsa Jaguars, and that's ran by Coach Jackie White, and we encourage a lot of our kids to participate in that. She takes them from age 5 and 6 years old through high school. So a few of our girls have participated in the summer program with her.
Well, I tell you what, that sounds like that you have got things coming at McLean High School on girls track, and I don't think there's anything more interesting to watch, and that is to watch some of the good girls track as they go about and just begin to set times that you would never believe.
Yeah.
And they are very easy to coach too, aren't they?
So much easier to coach. I mean, I've coached the boys and I've coached the girls, and you can pull a little bit more. They have their issues, but for
Sure.
the most part,
But
they're
when
trainable.
But when you tell them you need to be doing this, they do it.
They do it.
And you give them a reason why they should be doing it. Therefore, they understand why, and they trust what you're trying to do.
And when they see those times come down, they say, "Coach, you were right." And that's the great feeling.
Yeah.
They believe in the coach. Yeah.
Well, I go back to my time, and I coached a lot of girls, different sports, and it just seems like that they work so hard, and they are so happy when success comes, and that means a lot.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you being aboard and want to wish you the very best of luck, Philip, and keep those girls going at McLean, and hopefully we'll see them run in the state track meet.
I hope so.
Stay with us on Inside Tulsa Athletics. More coming up right after this.
Hey, you.
Yeah, you. Getting that college education?
What are you gonna do? Graduate and take some office job?
Be like everybody else?
Or will you dare do something different?
Like, be a teacher. You could be my teacher.
You got the skills, the smarts.
Yes, you.
You could be the teacher I never forget.
That'd be cool.
Does that corporate job even have recess?
What are you gonna make of yourself?
What are you gonna make of me?
Are you suffering from stuff? Stuff you don't know how to get rid of? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. Learn how to get rid of stuff easily and properly. TulsaRefuse.org. Just give us a click. It's that simple.
They said I have troll teeth.
That my voice sounded like a possessed baby doll.
That no one would ever love someone as stupid as me.
That I was fat, ugly.
Disgusting.
The effect of bullying is potent.
We will no longer be the silent majority.
Now, when you see online bullying, there's something you can do about it.
We're gonna take action with the I.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness, and so are you.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics as we welcome aboard the head golf coach, the head basketball coach, the assistant AD. We're talking about Michael Parrish from Edison High School. Michael, always a pleasure having you aboard, and obviously you are a very busy man.
It has been a busy year and been very enjoyable. I've had a good experience with it.
Well, in coaching here in the spring, we're coaching both boys and girls golf. Kind of bring us up to date on what has happened and what's going to happen from now until you get to the playoffs.
Well, as you know, Oklahoma weather is crazy, especially in the spring, and we've had some rainouts. We've actually been able to participate in 2 tournaments, one for the boys, one for the girls. The girls, we've got a great group of young ladies that are young, they're talented, and our girls golf program has a real bright future. Our boys team was really disappointed with the way they performed at our first tournament, but they've been working hard trying to get back out and improve. We've got some young guys, and looking forward to seeing what they can manage out of this year.
Michael, do they just play golf, or do the kids do other sports now?
I've got a couple that play other sports. You know, a couple of the girls play other sports, a couple of the boys play other sports. But I do have a few that are specific golfers in nature. And, you know, I've got one boy who's got an opportunity to play some college golf. He's a very talented player. And so I'm looking forward to him having a good senior year this year and giving himself a chance to make state tournament.
Well, when you take a look at them, what is going to happen between now and the playoffs that can determine maybe how successful they'll be?
We'll practice, repetition, just, you know, hitting golf balls. That's the biggest thing. Working on short game, trying to improve their skill level. You know, kids today, it's really incredible how good golfers are around, and the ones that get out there and play in the USJGA and some of the Midwest regional qualifiers, they get a little more experience than just high school golf. But we've been very lucky at Edison. We've got a couple of young men that are playing college golf right now. They are set kind of a foundation for our program, and these guys today are you know, trying to fill up to the shoes that they've left.
Well, do they come back and help the kids? Because I know, looking as a coach, I used to coach golf, but I really didn't coach it. I just organized the practice and that sort of thing. But when you have these good golfers coming back, do they help your kids a lot?
Absolutely, and they've become good friends over the years. They come back and they play in the summer times. You know, golf season for college is pretty much the same time as it is for the high school kids, so they don't really get a chance to practice together, work on the range together. So it's more in the summertime and an enjoyment, you know, going out and playing. We've been very fortunate with that, you know, the golfers have become really good friends and, you know, kind of a family with each other, and they enjoy playing together. So yes, there is some of that pay it forward, trickle down, where they you know, help each other become better players.
Now, Michael, let's take when school starts and immediately you're in with the basketball program. Now, the kids who are not in another program that are just golfers, how do you handle them? What do they do to maintain their level until you get them in the spring?
Well, some of them have their own individual coaches, swing coaches, and they go out. You know, we've had one player that had a swing coach at Gallardia in Oklahoma City, and he would, you know, once, twice a week drive to Oklahoma City and get swing practice. And so it's working with them and trying to help facilitate their, you know, their careers, what I can do to help benefit them, you know, in the fall when the weather is really nice. You know, I check in with them and call the courses and try and arrange for them to get chances to go out and play. And then when winter hits, you know, they come in and check in the gym with me, and they, you know, we have an ability at our school to have indoor hitting. We've been lucky enough to have a small cage to do some indoor hitting in the wintertime when it's, you know, really not well outside with snow and cold weather. So trying to keep them as active as possible all during the fall and in the winter. You know,
do most of these kids have access to a golf course?
We are, our practice facility is La Fortune. Pat McCrae's been very good to us. We've had some of our golfers actually take jobs out there and work at La Fortune. So, you know, the city parks of Tulsa has been really good to Tulsa Public Schools and our golf programs. Mohawk and Paige Belcher, you know, they are so welcoming to all of our golfers, and, you know, we really appreciate that.
And as you look down into the feeder program, do you have some kids maybe down in junior high school coming up that is going to be helping you?
You know, we've tried to facilitate a junior program with our middle school. We rely on a lot of the parents for that and trying to organize some practices and maybe some competitions. But, you know, like I said earlier, the USJGA and the you know, PGA Junior is kind of where those kids really, you know, work on their skills.
Well, we want to wish you the very best of luck, and I couldn't help but think that with the Masters tournament going on, maybe someday you'll be sitting there watching one of your players from Edison.
That would be great.
And I wish you the very best of luck.
Thank you, Coach.
Stay with us on Inside Tulsa Athletics. More coming up right after this.
They said I have troll teeth.
That my voice sounded like a possessed baby doll.
That no one would ever love someone as stupid as me.
That I was fat, ugly.
Disgusting.
The effect of bullying is potent.
We will no longer be the silent majority.
Now, when you see online bullying, there's something you can do about it.
We're gonna take action with the I.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness, and so are you.
Stuff. When you don't want it, what do you do with it? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. There, you'll learn what to do with stuff you don't know what to do with. Just give us a click. TulsaRefuse.org. It's what you do when you don't know what to do with stuff.
Marie, you have prediabetes.
Prediabetes? I don't have time to eat right or exercise. I'm a busy mom.
Oh, you're a busy mom.
Yeah.
This is great news. Busy moms never get prediabetes.
Wait, what?
Let me just... Yeah, this is all the people at risk for prediabetes, and way over here, busy moms. No?
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics as we welcome aboard Tammy Altaffer from Central High School, athletic director, head track coach, and I might add this, a very successful track coach.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
And you know, I saw this in a paper, Tammy, the other day talking about Jared Scott and what he has done. And before we came on the air, you showed me on your little machine him finishing up in a track meet. Tell us about him.
You know, Jared is a special kid. He's a very special kid. But, you know, everybody talks about Jared's talent. But the biggest thing that I would say about Jared, he has worked. He doesn't miss a practice. He has worked with us every day after school since the first day of school this year. And he is a very prolific runner.
You know, I think it's always great when we talk about a player like this because I know he is getting nibbles. If he hasn't already accepted a scholarship on a college level, he will have one.
Yes, he will. Actually, I have 4 seniors this year running that 4x1 and 4x2, and both of those are ranked first in the state right now. And realistically, all 4 of them could run in college.
Have they had the an opportunity to visit a college and have
You know, we haven't visited yet, but track scholarships come late because track coaches are in season now, and they usually make time to come to the state track meet. So right after that's over, we'll take our visits and things like that, and they'll decide where they're going to go.
Well, tell our audience what has happened. Here we're in the second week of April. Tell us what has happened to this point with your track, boys and girls.
Okay. Well, our last meet that we ran in was Tulsa, and we were actually second overall with our boys team as a team, which was huge because there were 31 schools there.
Wow.
Mostly 5A and 6A. So we did very well.
And you were
competing.
second?
And we were second. We were third at Dewey. We were, I think we won Hominy. We were second at Wagner as a team. So we're competing very well going into the regional and state meet. The girls are still growing. I got my girls late this year. So they're very young and they're still growing, but I'm looking forward to the next year with them.
So they are younger?
Yes, freshmen.
Okay, well, and that was one of the questions I had. As we look, you have to have a good feeder program coming in, because when these kids do well, then the young kids, they look, say, we want to do that.
Exactly, exactly. It only grows your program. And I'm very fortunate, you know, with track, I get kids from other sports a lot of times. And I'm very fortunate to have Coach Shaw and Coach Brown that do a very good job with their programs because it just feeds right into mine. So I'm blessed.
Well, you know, I always think it's great, going back to my experience on a coaching level, that I think it's great when kids maybe have become involved in a fall or a winter sport, and then they really get their number one would be track, or it could be baseball, or it could be any of the other spring sports.
Right. It's very important, you know, and we get our kids from other sports. And, you know, now with Jared Scott, he is just a track athlete, but he's a darn good one, and he's one of our captain. Tarek Vinson's our other captain, and I have no complaints out of him.
What do you have coming up between now and when you get to the playoffs?
This Friday we'll be at Shakota, and then the next Friday on the 20th we'll be at Collinsville, which will be another very big meet, and then we will go to regionals.
Where is the regionals?
We don't know yet. That has not been named. On this side of the state, it'll either be Catoosa or Shakota, but we don't know whether we'll get sent west or not. I think we have a very good possibility now that we place so high at Catoosa of getting a top seed in a regional.
And how are your kids looking forward to this? Are they excited and really doing what you want them to do for preparation?
Oh, every day. Every day they work. You know, I get texts even last night, what time's practice today? You know, they're already ready to go.
Well, I know one thing for sure, that what you have done at Central High School and the track program has been so good for the kids, and that's what it's all about, isn't it?
It is. You know, the kids, that's everything we do is about the kids, you know, and helping them to get a vision to see what they can really do in life.
Well, I know one thing for sure, that when you're working with them and you see them begin to progress, you see them get a little better, and you know that they are doing that because of what you asked them to do and what you showed them how to do. And from a coaching standpoint, that lets you just really feel proud, doesn't it?
It does. I couldn't be more proud of my track kids. They do everything right every time I ask them to.
Well, now, you mentioned that you have a lot of real good girls coming aboard. What happens when these boys that are doing so well now, what happens when they're gone?
You know, the thing is, I'll still have some. They're not all leaving. You know, I'll lose these 4, and you know, 2 years ago we were the 4x1 state champions with the boys, and then last year they said we couldn't repeat, and we did, and then this year they said we couldn't do it again, and we're ranked #1. So.
Well, Tammy, I tell you one thing for sure, we're out of time, but I'm going to try to get out and watch one of the Fridays and just watch those kids go.
That would be
been
wonderful.
a pleasure having you aboard.
Thank you very much.
Stay with us on Inside Tulsa Athletics. We're back in just a moment.
Stuff. When you don't want it, what do you do with it? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. There, you'll learn what to do with stuff you don't know what to do with. Just give us a click. TulsaRefuse.org. It's what you do when you don't know what to do with stuff.
I'm Jenny Garth, and as a mother of 3, I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. But here in America, that is a real worry for 1 in 5 children. This is unacceptable, and something Feeding America is working to solve. Through a nationwide network of food banks, Feeding America serves virtually every community in the United States, including yours. See how you can help your community. Visit feedingamerica.org. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
Are you suffering from stuff? Stuff you don't know how to get rid of? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. Learn how to get rid of stuff easily and properly. TulsaRefuse.org. Just give us a click. It's that simple.
We continue Inside Tulsa Athletics as we welcome aboard Keith Hind, who is the head tennis coach at Edison High School, the head boys coach, but you also work with the girls, don't you?
Yes, I share the duties with Shannon Smith. She's technically the head girls coach. I'm the boys coach, and we share the duties of putting the schedule together, running practice, coaching the kids at matches. She really is a big part of the program.
Well, Keith, looking at what is happening in boys and girls tennis at Edison High School, tennis has always been a rather popular sport at Edison High School. Has it still maintained that popularity?
Our numbers are good. We this year have full JV teams along with our varsity. So yes, our numbers are healthy, and it seems like the kids like to be out there.
Well, bring us up to date on tournaments that you've played or matches that you've had up to this point.
So far, we've played a lot of dual matches with schools like Metro, Sand Springs, and then we've had a couple tournaments. We just got through running our own tournament that we use for a fundraiser, where we had 12 teams for the boys, and some of those teams were Okmulgee, Tahlequah, Bishop Kelly, Metro, and then Memorial and East Central. And on the girls, because we had to change the rain date, we had to play on Friday, which was Good Friday, so we lost the private schools. So we ended up with 8 teams, and that's our big deal in the spring to raise money for the next year for our expenses.
Well, what do you have between now and state playoffs?
We're going down this week to Duncan to a tournament down there that we like to call the Public School State Championships. We do that Friday and Saturday. The boys will play on Friday, the girls play on Saturday. And then after that, it's just a couple dual matches getting ready for regionals.
Have they decided on the regionals where they will be, or is that something that happens just before the regional time?
It's happening right around now, but since I haven't been in the classroom, I haven't seen a computer. I have to find a computer to find out what's going on.
Well, talk about both boys and girls, the players that have gone maybe a little beyond what you as the coach expected them to be at this particular time.
On the girls, it's been a very different year than what I expected. There are 6 people that play in a varsity match, and we lost 2 kids, seniors, that decided they didn't want to do this anymore. And then we lost our best player to an injury that occurred on the state meet last year. So we lost 3 of our best players. So it's been very much have turned into a rebuilding year, playing a lot of young people, and we've got 2 girls that are juniors that I stuck in doubles. They're the best players on the team. Libby Benedict and Julia Manapella, and we're trying to get them ready to qualify at regionals. On the boys, it's a very young team. Again, we lost a couple upperclassmen to various reasons, but our doubles teams, we have 3 sophomores and a freshman, and I'm trying to get them qualified. Jack Conway, Sam Lehman, Casey Wills, and Jackson Gillum. And that's where we're really going to be working hard, and plus the other kids playing singles. But it's going to be kind of a growing year.
But Keith, as you look at your team, both boys and girls, have they advanced beyond what you thought they would be at this particular point? Or are they about where you thought they'd be, or are they not there yet?
I think we've got some work to do on the girls. The boys are pleasantly surprising me in those doubles positions.
So you're happy with what has happened?
Yeah, the boys, we're a little farther ahead than I thought we'd be.
Well, as you look on down the road, do you see a lot of wins coming and the possibility of advancement in the state?
We got to get in tennis. You got to get in 4th at regionals to go on, and I'd say on the boys we're right at that 4th, 5th spot. It could go either way. On the girls, that first doubles team, same thing. So it's just depending on how much the kids work the next couple weeks.
Well, who do you have on the schedule down toward the end here that's going to make a difference for you?
We're playing in a Collinsville tournament where we should get some good seating information, and we're playing Bishop Kelly. We have them on our match. So those should tell us where we're at.
Well, we want to wish you the very best of luck, and I know one thing for sure, that when you talk about tennis at Edison High School, that people do listen because tennis has been a great program. We want to wish you the very best of luck and get on in that state playoff.
All right, well, thank you for your support and having me on here.
Stay with us on Inside Tulsa Athletics. More coming up right after this.
I'm Jenny Garth, and as a mother of 3, I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. But here in America, that is a real worry for 1 in 5 children. This is unacceptable. and something Feeding America is working to solve. Through a nationwide network of food banks, Feeding America serves virtually every community in the United States, including yours. See how you can help your community. Visit feedingamerica.org. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Are you suffering from stuff? Stuff you don't know how to get rid of? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. Learn how to get rid of stuff easily and properly. TulsaRefuse.org. Just give us a click. It's that simple.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics as we continue visiting with coaches here on Inside Tulsa Athletics. And we want to welcome aboard Merle Ashley. He's the head track coach of both boys and girls at Edison High School. And Merle, when you coach both boys and girls, do you work them a lot together?
Most of the time we work them together. Our distance kids will, it's easy to split them up when you're doing your distance kids because the times won't be exactly the same. So we work them together in that aspect a lot. Our sprinters, we'll line them up, boys then girls, to do our workouts like that, but generally they work together.
Well, bring us up to date on both the boys and the girls, what you have done in the track meets to this point.
Well, we started the season at Holland Hall and had a fairly decent meet. The kids showed up. We had a full team, like varsity and JV, our B team. Ran pretty well. Some of the times were not quite where we wanted them to be, but everybody showed up and competed. Our next meet was at Okmulgee after spring break. Went down and our boys finished second overall team-wise. The girls were third in the large school division. Our relay teams ran pretty well at Okmulgee. We had 4 boys relay teams place second or third in every event. Had a couple of individual champions on the girls' side in the mile, the 2 mile, the 400, I'm sorry, not the 400, but the 800 meter run. So we had a pretty good meet at Okmulgee. And then recently we went to Tulsa. Our high jumper finished second. All of our relay teams ran pretty well. Had a couple of kids not be able to make it. A couple of them were sick. So 2 of our relay teams didn't run that week, but we've had some pretty good success so far.
When you take a look at what has happened with the boys and the girls, have there been any of them to come aboard that have gone beyond what you expected them to do at this point in time?
Yeah, it's been a while on our boys' side that we've had all 4 relay teams, and all of those teams have done a pretty good job for us. We had some young men come out that are on our football program, and they've enhanced our sprint side. Our 4x1, 4x200 meter relay teams are both running pretty well. Our 4x200 relay team, as a matter of fact, is ranked in the top 10 in the state. On the girls' side, we've got 2 strong relays. Both those teams qualified for the state track meet last year, and they're both ranked. The 4x400, 4x800 relay teams are both ranked in the top 10 as well. On the boys' side, as I said, our sprint side, the best sprinter I have right now is Savion Morrison. He's a young man, came from our football program. Great tailback for us, came into the track program, wasn't sure about it, and now he's really enjoying himself and looking forward to the meets. On the girls' side, I have Maddie Morris, who's an 800 meter, 400 meter runner. Maddie was a medalist last year at state track meet, and she's running really well for us right now. And she's our lead leg on both our relays that are also ranked.
Kind of go through what you're going to be doing between now and the state playoffs.
Well, our next meet will be at Bristow. Kids really enjoy that meet because we've gone down to Bristow and had some really good relay meets as well as open events. We're trying to get more of our sprinters into open events, so that meet helps us because it gives us a chance to go and run against some other teams, not have to see the TPS schools every week. After that, we'll go to Coweta. Coweta is a smaller meet. They don't invite as many teams, so we can get an opportunity to run a faster meet and get the kids a chance to see how the quick meets will run like at the regional. Then, of course, we'll come back and go to the meet that's scheduled at Booker T on the 24th.
Do you have any idea where you will go on the elimination meets as they come up, sponsored by the state?
Well, we're not sure right now. On the east side, the meets are at Tahlequah and Claremore, so we were hoping to go to either one of those this year. Last year, we got sent to the west side because of our distance teams were pretty strong last year, so they sent us over there to a meet that didn't have very good distance teams, which worked out fine for us because it helped us qualify more kids. Yeah. But it just depends. Our rankings will go in this week, so we'll know for sure who's going where, and hopefully we'll get a good meet for us to get a lot of kids qualified.
You know, when you take a look at the players that you have and the expectation on any of them that has gone beyond what you thought?
I will say on our sprint side on the boys, we were expecting to be decent. We are ranked just outside the top 10 on our 4x1. Our 4x200 is ranked number 8. And then the 4x4, we've only had one chance to run it, but as I said, we're just outside the top 10 as well as a 4x800 team. So our relays have come along really well, and I can say honestly, it's been a while since I've had 4 boys relay teams, and to have all 4 of them with a really good shot at going to state is great.
Well, Merrill, we want to wish you the very best of luck at Edison High School and hope you get into the state meet and get some of those gold medals.
I sure hope we will. Appreciate it.
Stay with us on Inside Tulsa Athletics. More coming up right after this.
Are you suffering from stuff? Stuff you don't know how to get rid of? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. Learn how to get rid of stuff easily and properly. TulsaRefuse.org. Just give us a click. It's that simple.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics as we welcome aboard the Director of Athletics for the Tulsa Public Schools, Gil Cloud. And Gil, when we take a look at what is going to be happening in athletics, there's going to be a little change in 2019, and kind of explain that to our fans.
Well, it's going to be an interesting change. Oklahoma is one of only 3 states right now that does not have what we call, quote, a dead period, end of quote. A dead period, the definition of a dead period is that there can be no activity with student athletes from your team, with your coach, in your facilities. That means that for 9 days, beginning in 2019, over the 4th of July weekend and beyond, there'll be no athletics taking place in any of the school athletic related facilities with school coaches and our student athletes. And the impetus for that has been that we don't give our kids enough time off, that they go right from one sport to the next sport to the next sport. And from a health and safety standpoint, that doesn't give their body a lot of time to recover physically from the rigors of a 30-game basketball season or a 50-game baseball season, anywhere from 10 to 14-game football season, back to back to back to back. And while we see today more specialization, there's no question that kids specialize more than they ever have before. The three-sport letterman in this day and age is just about gone because the off-season programs are so important. There is that time that they need to get away and be a kid again. And so the Activity Association put out 3 different surveys where they had different periods of time, very length of time, and beginning times and ending times were different. And finally it came on a ballot that they thought that everybody could live with, or at least the majority could live with. And this was not, I wouldn't say it was controversial, but it was an issue that a lot of people had an opinion about. And some were good and some weren't. what an interesting part of this was the 5 and 6A schools. Only of the 32 schools, only 24 voted. And of the 24, of the 32 schools in 6A, and of those, 17 voted against it. So of the schools that voted, the majority was not to have a dead period in 6A. 5A and 6A combined, the vote was not to have a dead period. So it's one of those things that we've talked about for years and years, dealing with the Activities Association. The preponderance of members are 4A and below. And we have 481. We only have 64 in 5 and 6A. So any vote that comes up is going to be skewed by the small schools. We have said more than once, and we've fought this battle more than once, that the large schools have a lot different problem than the small schools do. And so there should be a different set of rules. We've laid this out on 3 different occasions where we've talked about what happened to the NCAA about 10 years ago when they went to a federated membership. Division I, Division II, and Division III are governed separately. They're under the umbrella of the NCAA, but the Division I book, a manual, is a lot different than the Division III manual. And the Division II is kind of in the middle because they do give athletic-related aid scholarships. Division III does not give any, and of course Division I gives more than Division II does. So there's some semblance as to what the overall rules are, but when it gets into financial aid and the number of sports you have to have and the squad size and staff size and everything, it varies because it's different. It's much different. I think the smallest Division II school might have been Upper Iowa when I was there.
Yeah.
And can you tell me that an Upper Iowa has the same kind of problems with 1,000 students on campus as Ohio State with 58,000? There's a different set of guidelines. There's a different set of rules. There's a different set of necessities that those schools have to carry out. And so when you look at the Activities Association and you have Corn Bible private school with 20 average daily membership in the top 4 grades, and you have Broken Arrow with 5,100, what do they have in common? And yet we don't have any federation. We have one set of rules for everybody. They don't fit. And that's one of the things I think that there was consternation over the dead period, because a lot of our 6A, 5A coaches are involved with other kinds of things. For instance, swim, where they run swim clubs in the summer. And your conditioning and your summer USSAA meets and everything are conducted in the summer. And these guys coach in the summer. Well, now by rule, they can't coach their kids in the summer because it says no school personnel with school student athletes, even though they may not use school facilities. They cannot coach their kids.
Well, it would look to me like that they would take that under consideration rather than to have a coach take his team and work them or have them worked. I mean, to me, as a player, I think I would want just a little time off. But I can understand both sides of what they're looking at.
Oh yeah, I think there's an argument both ways. I think one of the issues that's difficult, a lot of your clubs use school facilities.
Yes.
School facilities are closed for 9 days, no matter who it is. So where are they going to go?
They're going to have a vacation, aren't they?
They're going to have a vacation. I mean, I think there's some issues there that maybe not were as well thought out as we had hoped that they would have been. And there are going to be some waivers because, you know, again, small versus large. Some communities, the only athletic facilities in town are school athletic facilities.
Yes.
If you have a big 4th of July baseball tournament with Connie Mack or American Legion or whatever, how can you close that baseball facility down that's been used for 50 years at the high school? So there is going to be a waiver provision that you have to ask for a waiver from the OSSA to be able to use that facility for that weekend.
Well, now surely they would give a waiver on that and not prevent the kids from playing if they're not involved at the school.
I would certainly hope so. But that means if your coach is coaching the summer team during those 9 days, he can't coach them either.
Well, I tell you what, there's going to be some problems, aren't there?
There's going to be some problems. I think there's going to be a number of violations. And then I think what we have to come up with is what is going to be the penalty for those violations. Illegal practice, that means you have to miss a practice during the year. If you play X number of games, you have to miss an X number of games. I think I wish we would have stayed with what we had, which was 1 week, not 9 days. I think the 9 days takes it a little bit too long, and I think we're gonna cause ourselves some problems.
Stay with us. We're going to take a break and then come back and take a look at what's going on elsewhere in athletics. Stay with us on Inside Tulsa Athletics. We're back with Gil right after this.
Marie, you have prediabetes.
Prediabetes? I don't have time to eat right or exercise. I'm a busy mom.
Oh, you're a busy mom.
Yeah.
This is great news. Busy moms never get prediabetes.
Wait, what?
Let me just... Yeah, this is all the people at risk for prediabetes, and way over here, busy moms. No?
Are you suffering from stuff? Stuff you don't know how to get rid of? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. Learn how to get rid of stuff easily and properly. TulsaRefuse.org. Just give us a click. It's that simple.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics as we continue visiting with the Director of Athletics for the Tulsa Public Schools, Gil Cloud. And Gil, we take a look at what is going on. What do we look forward to next year with the walkout that's taking place now? What impact's that going to have?
Well, you know, right now, JB, we're concerned about what happens next week, much less next year. But you know, our district has taken the position that we're going to provide only varsity athletics for the spring sports. And so what that means is we've had no off-season programs for our off-season sports. Football, basketball, the gyms have closed, the weight rooms are closed, the swimming pools are closed. Everything is shut down except for our varsity spring sports. Now the underclassmen down through the 9th grade have had the opportunity to continue practice with the varsity, but no JV soccer matches, no freshman soccer matches, no freshman baseball games, none of that. And that was, you know, in deference to supporting our teachers. We've had no practices begin before 3:30, and because that's the end of the school day. And I think we've had a really a great week and a day so far. You know, we're taping on Monday. We don't know how long we'll be in this week, but it appears at least another day we'll be out. The continuity of our program, we've been fortunate. We have some coaches that have done a really good job of keeping our kids engaged. Keeping them attuned to, you know, participating in interscholastic activities while not being in the academic realm. There are some concerns that we have, obviously, falling behind academically, you know, missing a week or so. But the cause, I think, is certainly there. We needed to get the attention of those who can make a difference in our budgets and the expenditures and the funding, the programs that we need. And about the only way to have gotten their attention, it appears, was to have a shutdown and have a walkout. And that's what we did. I don't know if there's been any negative effect on our student athletes. They've all appeared. We played games. Everybody seems to be in good shape. Going back, will be a transition back into school, kind of like a transition we have at the winter break over the Christmas holidays. When you're away from it for a week to 10 days, I mean, it makes it a little bit different academically getting back and getting hooked up. One of the concerns that we had early on when I talked to the executive director, the eligibility got to be eligible every week and got to be passing every class every week. And if you had a student athlete that 2 weeks ago, on that Friday when we last checked grades, was ineligible, they have been eligible this whole time, and without the opportunity to get eligible because there's no grades going in. And so what the Activity Association has done is they've opened up a waiver program that if in the opinion of the principal, the student athlete has been unfairly treated because of the work stoppage. Say the guy's got a 59.5 in the class and 60s passing, and now he's been ineligible for all last week and now all this week. We'll be able to waive that, ask for a waiver from the Activity Association to make that student athlete eligible again. Now when they come back to school, he's going to have to be eligible again after that 1 week. But I think that's fair to the student athlete to be able to do that.
Yeah, what do you think the impact is going to be on this, that once they all get back into school, things are going smoothly again? Will this being out have any impact on what goes on at that time?
I don't think so. I think because we had the opportunity to continue play and not have an interruption in play, I think the level and quality of play has maintained, been the same. And I think the routine you get into is the only thing that you miss. You go to school for 6-7 hours and then you go to practice or you go to games or whatever. Well, now you don't have that 6 or 7 hours. Now you go right to practice or right to a game. I think when we come back, acclimating back into that regiment will be a little bit of something I think that they'll have to do. The long range effect, if we come back this week, I don't anticipate it's going to have that much of effect on our off-season programs. But you don't want to have no off-season for 3 weeks or 4 weeks, because now you've lost everything that you've been able to accomplish up to this point in off-season, whether it be basketball or cross country or football or whatever, softball. Those programs that are not currently in there, wrestling, swimming, those things without practice, without conditioning, where does that put that student athlete? So hopefully we'll get back to work and we won't have that as an issue.
Well, that was the thing that always was bothering me. I didn't think for 5 or 10 days, whatever it might be, that things could come right back to normal. But if this stays out, say, for a month, and the younger kids, that junior varsity, we might say, that they are prevented from being a part of the program or practicing, then that could have an impact. But like at the present time, they come back, and I don't think it's going to hurt them.
I agree with you. I think, and you think that's a good point, because especially your young kids, you can only gain so much in practice. You got to have game type situations for them to react to see if they're going to get better in a game situation. That's why you play JV games. That's why you play freshman games.
Yes.
They got to have where they turn the lights on, turn the clock on, somebody blows a whistle. If they don't do that, then they can practice forever and they'll be really good at all the drills. But when the ball goes up, can they perform? Because they haven't performed in a game situation. And so we've lost a week, and we may lose another week. So you lose 2 weeks. Literally out of an 8-week season, that's 1/4 of it, because
that's right.
We start March 1st, and the accommodating tournaments start the end of April, 1st of May. So you got 8 weeks in there. So we've lost 1/4 of that. If we stay out this week, we will have lost 1/4 of it.
Well, do you think it's really getting down to the point where it is going to be settled and things going back to normal?
Just my opinion, strictly personal opinion, I hope so. I really don't know how far apart we are down there with what the OEA has promoted and wanted from day one, and where the legislature, I mean, I hear comments from the legislature said, well, don't bring that up because we're not even going to vote on it. Well, that concerns me if the door is already closed before we ever talk. So I don't know. I don't know. I hope that we're willing to think about this as being what's fair to kids, what's best for kids. It's not an adult thing. It's not, you're a senator and I'm a teacher and you don't want to give me a raise. It's this what we're going to do for our kids. And I've said this from day one. The operational funds are more important than the salaried funds, because you can give somebody more salary, but if you give them 10 more kids in their classroom where they're teaching 45, that's not fair either.
No. Well, I tell you what, we could talk about this for a long time, but I think you've made some very, very good points, and I hope our listening audience would more or less take and agree with what you were saying.
Well, I hope so too.
We'll see you again in 2 weeks.
You bet.
Stay with us here on Inside Tulsa Athletics. We have more coming up right after this.
Stuff. When you don't want it, what do you do with it? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. There, you'll learn what to do with stuff you don't know what to do with. Just give us a click. TulsaRefuse.org. It's what you do when you don't know what to do with stuff. Are you suffering from stuff? Stuff you don't know how to get rid of? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. Learn how to get rid of stuff easily and properly. TulsaRefuse.org. Just give us a click. It's that simple.
Hope you enjoyed the show today, and we want you to join us again in 2 weeks when we come back as we continue to follow the athletic programs of the Tulsa Public Schools. And as always, we want to encourage each and every one of you to support your local high school athletic program. The boys and girls deserve your support. So get out there. I think you'll enjoy it. And then join us again here in 2 weeks as we continue to follow the athletic programs of the Tulsa Public Schools. We'll see you in 2 weeks.